welcome everyone to today's session on Fall in Love with Mathematics webinar. My name is Michelle and I'm hosting today's event together with Miss Tiffany, as well as our speaker, Aloysius, and our host, our junior host, Putri. And before we start, also just to take note that we also have a few of the senior teachers, as well as your principal, Miss Anne, with us today. Okay, so we have this nice poster on today. What we were talking about is how Aloysius loves maths, and then he discovered learning through inquiry. Now math is a breeze, and we are here to find out how we can all learn like Aloysius. Before we start, going through the meeting etiquette with everyone. First, thank you for joining today's meeting. Please keep your mic mute unless you are called to speak. Listen to the presenter attentively. If you have any questions or any remarks to make, please put it into the chat box. You do observe politeness when you type in the chat box, yeah? So we will attend to the questions at the end of the session when we have our Q&A. Okay, so I'm gonna call onto the stage, or no, onto the screen, Putri to introduce herself. Putri?
Hi, my name is Putri and I'm going to be your host for today's Breakthroughs webinar. We have among us today a very special guest to share with us his math story. Before I invite our guest to join on our screen, let me give you a short introduction about him. Our guest for today is my classmate and my friends for 5 years now. We both study at Fairview International School, Penang, since we were in P1. I already noticed that this person loved math. P1 was the time I felt we were drilled to do 4 basic operations. Just like all of us, he would not want you to answer during our math lesson. But whenever he was called upon, he always gave the correct answer. Can you imagine that? So I know then, he speaks math. Now, let us not wait much longer. I present to you Liu Yongting, also known as Aloysius. Hi, Aloysius.
Hi, Putri, and thanks for that wonderful introduction. Thank you, audience, for spending your afternoon with me today. Putri has a good memory of me. Yes, Putri is right. I have studied in Fairview Penang since P1 and I started off really shy. I could not speak much English back then. This was not just a language barrier. It was also due to the fact that I was late in developing my speaking skills.
Back then, I thought you were just really quiet.
All right. So anyway, I was saying, let me repeat myself. This is the part that audience participation is welcome. So share with us, audience. Have you had any experience before? Any challenging moments? And there's a poll that is being shared with you right now on your screen. So go ahead and vote, and then we'll see later the result. All right. So while you're doing that, Putri will be asking Aloysius a few more questions.
Yes, Aloysius. Since your parents know you are slow in speech, did they send you to a speech therapy?
Good question, Putri. This may sound a bit funny, but my parents did not do that. Truly, mothers know best. My mom thought since I can't speak well, why not learn to speak numbers instead? She observed I had high interest in numbers.
Ah, I remember you joined math arithmetic.
Yep. Once my mom and I knew where my weakness is, she sent me to mental maths competitions to first build on my strength. Interesting, right?
Aha, so that is how it all started. Your mom focused on your strength first. Miss Tiffany, can you share the poll?
All right, let's see what is the result of the poll now. Miss Michelle?
Oh, well, I just shared. Can you see it?
I can't seem to see it in my screen.
Okay, anyway, 6 out of 6 participated in the poll, and 6 out of 6 answered yes.
Oh,
yes,
right.
They have experienced challenges in their school years, yes.
Obviously, we all have our experiences of challenges, right? So, yeah. Back to you, Putri.
Interesting. Aloysius, with so many people answering yes, tell us how you were supported when you were struggling with speech in the past. Our audience may be able to pick up few pointers from your sharing. What exactly did your mom do to support you?
Sure. So when I was 6 years old, I joined mental maths competitions to improve my maths ability. My mom's friend introduced me to mental maths competitions to help me improve on speaking numbers and solving while other kids fear maths and well, I fear speaking, especially in English. I started doing maths in my head. As I joined more confidence, which made me reach another realization. I was not really weak in English. It was just my confidence. Joining mental maths competition did not just make me better in maths. I gained more confidence about myself too, and this
Inspiring sharing, Aloysius. This is a good point. Instead, work on identifying what we can do well and use it as our push factor to improve on the area.
Good point, students. What about our parents here in the audience? How do you think have you been helping your students boost, your children or your child boost their confidence so that they can overcome their weaknesses? I'll give everyone a minute to share your answers in the chat box. And student also, you may type your answers in the chat box. I believe you all had some moments where you feel so less confident, right? So I believe your parents are always your support system. So how are they helping you? Okay. Waiting for some answers from the chat box. Wow, of course. Encouraging words would be the very, very first thing that you can hear, right, from your parents. Practice. Yes, practice can always make us feel more confident. Forget about your weakness, Sujit says. Focus on the main thing I think that you are very strong at. That's good. Alif, practice more. This is Alif Firdaus. Any more? Getting rewards for small achievements and supporting words. Yes, even those small rewards, right? A kiss, a hug from a parent whenever you feel, you have done something right, or you feel like you have really given your best in that, and then your parents give you a hug, a huge hug, a very tight hug. Oh, that feels so good. And you can build on your strength too. Yes. Ishan, overcome your fears. And to overcome your fears, we can also put everyone's answer earlier, practice more, right? Okay, so very interesting sharing, everyone. And thank you so much for your participation. Now we are going to go back to Aloysius' story, shall we?
Sure thing, Miss Tiffany. Aloysius, I am curious to find out. We all know mental math is not our usual thoughts in school. How do you feel about
Firstly, I am very grateful to my mom for enrolling me in Fairview International School. In Fairview, I was not expected to speak English well overnight, so I was given space and time to adapt. Fairview's IB program made me appreciate every learning process I experienced. I made connections to gain better understanding of what I was learning. All the subjects are interconnected. I learned English in maths, maths in UOI, UOI in visual arts, PE, and even music. This makes me see learning as a whole. It also makes me feel very proud and accomplished, especially when I'm able to link my understanding from one subject to the other. Let me share one example from our math lesson last quarter, Putri. During the conceptual lessons, we composed jingles for a non-profit organization using autoclave. Now, autoclave is very technical, but all these concepts learned in music were applied to use for drawing the public's attention towards taking peaceful resolutions. We were able to compose our jingle using our math skills, counting beats, and to make a tempo melodious to the ears. This is one of the evidence of how I make connection of my understanding and apply it for a greater purpose. I plan to continue to master these skills so that in the future, this could be one of my future career choices. To be able to teach students and make them appreciate mathematics through music.
I couldn't agree more with you, Aloysius. Honestly, I'm not a fan of math, but I really enjoy how we learn in school. Our teachers design our lessons or activities to help us make connection to real life situations. Again, in the example of NGO unit that you mentioned just now, when we were tasked to look at the budgeting part to support the NGO cause, I had the opportunity to look at math away from our usual students' perspective, but more on the actual situation of NGO needing our support.
Well done. I have seen your reflection as well before when you're in P4. You share something of, how were you able to make use of your understanding in math to do not even worksheets in math or your math books, but to talk about, I was able to do something at the canteen maybe, or when you were with your parents, when you're out and you do simple calculation that you made connection of your understanding from the classroom. It's very, very fulfilling for me as well as a teacher that you're able to make connection through that. So well done, Putri and Aloysius, for sharing that today. And now, again, our audience participation. How many of you had a chance also when, when you were learning in your own, for parents, your own time, how many of you had that experience wherein you were taken away from worksheets and away from your math books, and you really were able to see the connection of what you're learning from the classroom in real life situation? So go ahead and share with us these experiences in the chat box. Anyone? Ooh, I have one from Ishan or Lishan. Okay. Unfortunately,
Miss Lisian is a parent, so
I thought it was a student.
Different generation.
Our generation, right? Unfortunately, we didn't have those experiences, right? Sad, right?
Yeah.
Because it's actually where we can appreciate maths more when we see that connection.
Yeah,
maths
which is
then,
why when you asked us to share, right? Even I type in not me, but I observe my son learning it in an interesting way.
exactly. It's that I believe that is the reason why I didn't really love maths also before. So that's why this talk by Aloysius and Putri is really interesting for me as well, because they really are sharing about their own experiences. Sujit, I observed my friends doing mental calculation and using their fingers to count. Right. Of course, that's the very first strategy we learn, right? Our fingers are very useful, even our toes. If we can count our toes as well, right? If you're not wrapped with our socks, we use them as our tool to count. So you're right. So we didn't pick up math related careers when we could have, right? Correct. Because it became so abstract to us. Like, these are just numbers, and what's the connection? There's not much stronger connection, and we don't really appreciate the subject before. Ishan is also sharing, when me and my friends helped the Silver Jubilee home, we had to calculate the amount of money that each product donated, the cost of it, right? So I think that is what Putri and Aloysius did as well. So thank you so much for sharing also, Ishan. All right, thank you so much, audience, for that very interesting sharing. Yes, for parents, most of us, yeah, that's the sad part. So I'm really happy that our generation now are making connection to real life situation. All right, so back to you, Putri.
Now, let's talk more about Aloysius during his math competition. Aloysius, could you share with us your most challenging competition and how did you overcome the challenge?
I will not say most challenging competition, but rather more about facing challenging competitors. There will always be these three people who will always make me feel nervous, and my heart will beat a little faster whenever I see them or their names on the competition's list of participants. How do I overcome it? I just take a deep breath, breathe in and breathe out until my heart feels calmer.
Awesome technique you got there, Aloysius. How about our audience? If you have other strategies to calm yourself during such situation, please share with us in the chat box. How about your most memorable competition? Can you tell us about it?
Certainly, Putri. I would say the US competition that I joined on the 16th January 2021 was my most memorable one. It was way bigger than any of the competition I have joined, and there were many people from different countries. It felt like competing in a much bigger stadium with more athletes coming from different cultures.
You really do get a chance to meet more people and learn about their culture too when you compete for mental math. This goes to show that by joining this competition, you really do get to develop yourself in many ways. Now, we are almost at the end of our webinar. This will be my second to the last question. How do you win? What are your strategies when you come?
I appreciate how our teachers help us understand and develop our ATL skills to help us independently achieve our tasks. They guide us to the right direction throughout the whole process of planning, doing, and presenting our tasks. I use the same strategy when I join the maths competitions. I think of the ATL skills I need in order for me to solve either mental maths or abacus problems. And it's not just all about thinking skills. We need communication skills too, to listen carefully, time management skills, to make sure I finish answering the question the faster that I could, so I could have enough time to double check my answer.
Before we end today's session, Aloysius, what last word do you have for our audience today?
I would like everyone to know that it is good for you to know your weaknesses, but also should know your strengths. I am a good example of this case. I was able to improve slowly and break through. Of course, with the guidance from my teachers and my mom, I was sure and confident of what I could really do well, and also I use it as my stepping stone towards overcoming my weaknesses. I improved my language skills. I felt the urge to improve through a community that supports me. My teachers in Fairview saw my potential and give me the opportunity to demonstrate it. They also are full of encouraging words. They never made me feel like I am still developing my language skills, but instead, they made me thought, respond to questions during group or class discussions. They made me read aloud and present just like what I am doing now. Hence, do surround yourself with supportive people.
Thanks, Aloysius, and that wraps up Aloysius' story. Truly an inspiring talk. I myself witness of how he has improved tremendously over the years we have classmates. He is one good friend who is always willing to help, especially with our math problems. Thank you to Aloysius again and to our audience for being with us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Putri, and thank you, Aloysius. Thank you so much for your speech just now. I must say, I was in their practice rehearsal sessions. This is really a great improvement from their practice sessions. So you can really see that even for the past few days, they have improved. Wow. So imagine if you do this a few more rounds. Okay, so we have come to the end of the presentation, but this is when the fun starts, where everyone can start bombarding Aloysius and even Putri with questions and answers. So please keep your bombarding in the chat box, type it in your chat box, and we will answer them one by one. So Aloysius friends, we want to hear from you if you have any questions, and as well as parents. Parents, you might want to ask Aloysius, look at the trophies that he has got. I have a question, like, where do you store all your trophies at home? All right, and while you are typing the questions and answers, I'll just quickly run through our organizer for today's talk, Fairview International School. We are an IB school, top IB school for 2020. And here is a list of our successes. In terms of career, 80% of our IB diploma students received scholarships. In terms of academic, we are the top IBDP school in Malaysia for 2 years in a row. And when it comes to communication, 90% of our parents feel that communication with Fairview is frequent, delightful, and relevant. Our uniqueness lies in three main points, which is the IB pedagogy, the future-proof at FIS program that includes our expeditions, our ES coaching program, and of course, the Everyone's a Musician program, where every student at Fairview picks up an instrument and learn it up. And this is our recent result for our IBDP 100% pass rate for 7 years. That is a remarkable result. And here is our contact information if you would like to find out more about Fairview. We've got 5 campuses in Malaysia and 1 more in UK. I'm gonna just keep this screen on the screen for a while and pop on to the chat box. Okay, so we're gonna look at the questions now. Meanwhile, I'm going to unshare so that we can have the speakers on the screen. Thank you, Miss Tiffany. Yep.
Right, I hear myself.
Here, Ashwaya asks, what are some tips you can give for everyone to improve on their math? Come on, math whiz, tell us how to be a whiz like you. Aloysius, unmute first, don't forget.
Okay, you need to practice more and more to make you improve more. If you want to improve even more than that, you must stay calm, not like you need to do very fast. The more you do fast, the more you get like a lot of rough. You must like stay calm. You do finish, you must check again and again.
Wow, that comes from a primary student. How old are you again, Aloysius? Okay, next question.
We have another question from Sujit. Aloysius, how did you, I believe it is similar to Aishu, but it's adding more to, you know, how are you able to fully make that weakness to your strength?
Okay, wait for Aloysius to unmute. Aloysius, are you using this time to think of an answer or what?
Thinking.
I think from what Aloysius have shared also earlier, right? From not focusing much on his weakness, because it would just make you more like, you know, you will lose confidence more. So he knows that he is really good in math. So he really developed math first. Then finally he gained confidence from that. And I really have seen that. I've taught Aloysius arts in P2. He rather not share much about his artwork because there's too much talking. So he just stand there and, you know, share a bit of what he has done, and that's it. But now you can, in P4, when I taught him, he will be the first person to offer help to his friends, to you know, support them in answering math questions. So he will be literally jumping from one seat to another seat to help them. So I know that, oh, this boy is really gaining confidence to communicate with his friends. And also when during presentation time, he talks longer now. Yeah.
I thought he's gonna do a cheeky thing, you know, come up with a very difficult math formula so that everybody just keep quiet and like, I better not talk. Putri, you saw Aloysius growing, right? You were his classmate for a few years. So what have you seen in the transformation that you have seen in him? Do you agree with Miss Tiffany, seeing from a shy boy to somebody who's very talkative and cheeky now?
Yeah, I agree with Miss Tiffany, because the first time I met him, he was just a very quiet and he doesn't talk much. And now he's like very good at talking and he gained more confidence.
Not just talking nonsense, right? Really talking about content. Yeah, and as I've seen his reflection, so both of these kids are really, you know, coming out of their shell, and therefore I am very, very proud of these two being here with us, and the commitment and dedication they have given these past 2 weeks. You can't imagine. I know they've been dreaming of Miss Tiffany already.
In their sleep, they can hear your voice.
Yes, for every day that I see them. So I have another question. Oh no, not much about question, but actually commending you for your sharing. You've done a great job. All right. So this is from Ishan's mom, Lee Ishan, right? I pronounced it correctly. All right.
Li Xian.
Li
She's a
Xian.
mom. She's a mom herself.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, she also want to ask Aloysius, besides the tips that you gave just now, which is on practice, could you like give the audience another 2 more tips so that they could improve on their mental maths in particular, so you can go into your field? How about refrain from using paper and pen? So, you know, oh gosh, I have to count this, and our usual response is go and grab a paper and pen, right? So now you refrain from doing it, and you just take your time and do the mental math. And I guess over time, your mental math will become faster and better. Do you think that helps, Aloysius?
Yeah, by using the paper, sometimes you could use your paper or pen if you can't calculate at all. But if you're like not very confident, you could try to use your brain to calculate too. Because you wanted to make your brain make it sharper and sharper.
Right. So in order to make your brain sharper, you have to practice, right? That's basically math, practice skills. So that's what I also noticed Aloysius, when he is given a question, he is not looking at the board, he will be looking at the ceiling, on the wall. So I think he's using that as his paper and pen instead. Like, you know, he sees numbers on the walls and the ceiling, and he's calculating already. And then there, answer is given.
So in a way, right, when you talk about 3 tips, it's like practice, practice, and practice. Well, that's what the pianist people do. I mean, people who wants to learn up piano and so on, they all do the same thing. Okay, also, this is a question to Putri. How did you and your friends in the class support Aloysius when you noticed he was such a quiet boy in the class?
So me and my classmate or friends in my class will try talking to him. Like at first when I joined, we were like asking for his name and all, but he's just staying silent. So we tried to think of a different way, but it still doesn't work. So now since P3 and P2, we talk to him more and more, and he start to respond to us, and we start to become friends, and he start to gain more confidence.
And he's taking some leads now, right, Putri, in the group activities. So that is what really has, I've really seen I would say, a transition from being shy to leading small groups. Yeah. I have also a question from Sarah. How do you balance your academic and non-academic life? I think not just for Aloysius, Putri also has a very, very hectic schedule. I have to really okay, can you schedule me? Can you slot me in at this time to practice our webinar? So yeah, Aloysius first and then Putri. How do you balance your activities? Aloysius, she has practice, tuition, and all that after school.
Yeah, and you have to wipe your trophies on the weekend. Hey, unmute yourself. We want to hear you. We want to hear you even when you laugh.
I just laugh. I cannot say it's not laughing.
Yeah, so Miss Tiffany was asking both of you, both of you can unmute and share. How do you balance your time among all these activities? Besides your mom being a good driver.
Let's start with Putri first, while Aloysius is still okay. Should I share the truth? I don't actually sleep most of the time. Putri?
So for me, I make a to-do list or schedule inside my iPad and download an app so that I can put in everything that I have to do for the day.
My goodness, I feel guilty now. I'm still sticking to this notebook and writing. And you are now very high tech, right? Using iPads and all that.
But I think it's part of their learning as well in the classroom. They have been taught to use these tools to plan out their time. I
Yeah.
believe one of the lessons, they would be doing this practically in the class just to build their base so that they can plan their time better. It's just that these two has taken it out of the class. It's not just planning in the class only, but it's planning out of the class.
How about Aloysius? Are you ready to share now?
I think yes. It's like while teachers like explaining things, you must like keep taking notes. Then while the class is finished, you must recap, and no, you just need to recap. Then try to explain in your own words. That's how I did.
Taking notes.
And
like
I use my
notes.
time right, and I use my time wisely.
That sounds like time management skills and the Cornell note-taking skills that we teach in the school, right, Tiffany?
Yes.
So proud to see these kids applying it in their life.
Yeah. I believe it's very good that the students are given the opportunity to also work with each other. They get to learn their friend's strategy as well, not just about the learning, but also the ways of how I noticed my friend is organizing his answers this way. Oh, I noticed my friend is organizing his time this way in the classroom, that he's able to manage, the task that is given to them on time. So that is, I think, the great, I feel the greatest opportunity that our students have in the classroom. They get to really develop the skills that will really help them in the long run and in real life situation.
Since we don't have any further questions, I'm just wondering if Aloysius' mom or Putri's parents are around, and would they like to say a few words to their kids who just presented? Or the parents are breathing in, breathing out now because they are nervous. I called them to the screen. Try Aloysius style. Breathe in, breathe out. No. Thank you so much, because I know behind the screen, Aloysius' mom and Putri's mom are also helping out. Yes. To ensure that everything is set up for them, get their school uniform ready and ensure there's no other disturbances at the background while we are having this webinar today. Sure. Thank you so much to Mrs. Liu and Putri's mom. Thank you. Sure. All right, so we have no further questions. I would like to thank everyone for participating in today's webinar, especially to Aloysius and Putri for sharing with us. So thank you, everyone, and have a good weekend. Stay home, stay safe, and we'll see each other again in the next Breakthrough Talk. Thank you.